post than I once was. Even the heroes' songs for which I and my family have been famous these many generations have become echoes of old tales retold. In these days of peace, there are few opportunities for songmakers to tell of great and heroic deeds, just as there are few opportunities for warriors to pass into song in a moment of glorious battle. It seems to me, and to Gunther, that we live in an age of city men. City men, or perhaps civilized men, seek deaths in bed, just as our great-grandfathers once sought that long, last journey down the river Is. We spoke of such things, did Dwar Guntha and I, as we sat before a fire, warming our hands on the blaze and our stomachs with red wine. The moons chased each other through the heavens, leaving in their wakes a billion swirling stars. Tomorrow might be our last day, and so many days lay behind us. It sat heavily upon Dwar Guntha that our last great song may already have been sung. I caught him looking into the flames with a distance at odds with the hawk sharpness he usually displayed. "What is it?" I asked, and he was a long time answering. Instead of speaking, he straightened, set aside his cup, and drew his sword from its sheath of cured banthhide. Gunther regarded the blade for a moment, turning it this way and that, studying the play of reflected firelight on the oiled steel. Then, with a sigh, he handed it to me. "Look at it, Jex," he said heavily. "This is my third sword. When I was a lad and wearing a fighting man's rig for the first time, I carried my father's sword, a clunky chopper of Panarian make. My father was a palace guard, you know. Served 50 years, and never drew his weapon in anger. First time I used the sword in a real battle, I notched the blade on a Tharkian collar. Second time I used it, the blade snapped. When Zat Arras fitted out the fleet to pursue John Carter after he'd returned from Validor, Kantos Khan himself gave him a better sword. Good man, that. He was everything Zat Arras was not. And the sword he gave was a helium blade, light and strong and already blooded. It had belonged to a Padua friend of his who died nobly but had no heirs. I used that blade for over 20 years, Jex. It tasted the blood of green men and black men, of plant men and white apes, and it drank the blood of red men too." He sighed and reached for his cup. "But I lost it when my scouting party was taken prisoner in that skirmish down south. No, why do I tell you, Jex? That's where we met, wasn't it? In the slave pits of Ankar-Dul. Remember how we broke out, clawing stones from the floor of our cell and tunneling inch by inch under the wall, running naked into the forests, wasted by starvation, filthy and unarmed." I smiled and nodded. "We were armed when we returned." Gunther smiled too, and nodded at the blade. "That was the first time I used that sword. I took it from the ice pirate who sold us into slavery. I snuck into his tent and strangled him with a lute string, and for a time I thought I would throw this sword away as soon as its immediate work was done." "That would have been a shame,"